we have the Attorney General for the state of Texas with us right now, Ken Paxton. Attorney General Paxton, thanks for making the time for us. Let's jump right into it. You want to talk to us today? We've got a few things to go over with you, but the Biden administration is playing some games with funding at the border. Tell us what's happening.
Yeah, so they've been doing this ever since they started. Congress appropriates money, and then the other agencies are supposed to implement. The Biden administration decided after Congress appropriated billions of dollars, I think the number was $1.4 billion a year, to not spend it on the border. And so they directed Border Patrol and the other agencies that were involved in building the wall to stop, and they never spent the money. So we sued them, arguing that the president can't reappropriate money or not spend it the way that he's directed, and he cannot order agencies to not spend money the way Congress, the elected representatives, direct. And we got a good ruling that says we're right, and that he has to spend that money on the thing that Congress directed, which was the wall.
I want you to, first of all, that's fantastic. We appreciate the work you're doing. I know you guys just had a primary. And by the way, it's good to have you on again. But can you tell us what results you saw come out of the Texas primary? Because I know Texas has turned into a battleground, not only to make sure that Republicans continue to win, but also that Republicans who actually want to fight win. Explain to us what's going on and what I would say is somewhat of a civil war inside of the Republican Party in Texas right now.
Well, it's interesting. It's almost like we have some Republicans trying to sabotage other Republicans. And I would say the last election we just had, which this primary a couple of days ago, was the most important, significant election since I've been involved in politics, and probably since I moved to Texas when I went to college. And that's because we had a Texas House for the last 15 years that's Republican controlled. And so the media can say, oh, these are Republicans. And so, what they're doing must be good because it's Republican. And the reality is the Speaker of the House in Texas for the last 15 years has been elected by the Democrats. And everybody's like, what? Nobody told us that. Well, the media doesn't cover that. But the way it works with 150 House members, you need 76 votes to be Speaker. You, of course, are going to vote for yourself. With 65 Democrats, they block vote, and they figure out which Republican will give us the most, who will block border security, who will block in election integrity, who will block the big Republican issues, who will impeach Ken Paxton for the Biden administration. Well, we had a guy that did it, Dade Phelan. And Dade Phelan was willing to trade whatever he needed to trade, and then all he needs is 10 Republican votes. And he walks around, he says to Dustin Burrows or Greg Bonnin and says, hey, do you guys want to be chair of appropriations? Do you want to be chair of calendars, the most important committees in the House? And they trade their vote for that. That's how it has been done. And then these other Republicans flock in, and we should have a separate vote among our caucus, and we should decide as Republicans who we want instead of letting the Democrats. And this election went after a lot of those Republicans, including the Speaker of the House, who have pushed this agenda forward. So that was one of the election issues. The second was Court of Criminal Appeals, which is a Republican group of 9 members. Everybody, again, assumes they're Republican, but they struck down a statute from 1951 that had thousands of cases of precedent where we were allowed as Attorney General to prosecute voter fraud. And we had, at the time, when they did this, over 900 cases going. So we had real legitimate voter fraud. All of my attorneys that were doing that, there were 4 of them that were appropriated by the legislature to do this, were all busy, and all of those went away because the Court of Criminal Appeals said that it was unconstitutional because of separation of powers, because I'm in the executive branch, for me to go to court. That was what they said. It was insane. And so we had to run 3 people against them, and we overwhelmingly won those 3 races.
Speaking to Attorney General Ken Paxton for the state of Texas, Mr. Attorney General, can you just tell us some of the other ways? We started out talking about the Biden effort to move around and really misappropriate funds that are supposed to be spent a certain way at the border. What are the ways, because this is right at the forefront now of the illegal immigration battle for this country. It's going to be a huge issue in the 2024 election, not just for the presidency, but I think a lot of the down ballot tickets will be affected by this as well. How are the Democrats, how is the Biden administration making it harder for Texas to help secure the border? What are the actions they're taking that prove that it's a lie when they say they want border security too?
Well, first of all, the very first thing they did was say on day one, Biden said we're not deporting anybody, and then he dismantled Remain in Mexico. He stopped the whole. He continued to catch and release instead of stopping it like Trump did. He stopped building the wall. He ended Title 42, helping us keep people out based on medical issues. He did everything possible to help the cartels, and he signaled to the cartels, get as many people here as fast as possible. And by the way, since you're doing that so well, let's also fly 30,000 people in a month. We'll pay for it from Venezuela, Nicaragua, Haiti, and one other country. We're paying for it. So they've done everything possible to dismantle everything that worked. And their claim now, since the polling is bad, is that it's the Republicans' fault because they won't change the immigration laws. There's nothing wrong with the immigration laws. And I'm not saying you shouldn't update immigration law, but there's nothing wrong with if they've been enforced. We know what happens because Donald Trump did it. And the reality is Joe Biden not only didn't enforce it, he's encouraged the cartels to get their people here as fast as possible. And the Biden administration would take the handoff because they're not hiding them anymore. They're just coming straight to Border Patrol. And then the Biden administration moves them to the states where they think they get an advantage on future elections and on the census.
We're talking to Attorney General Ken Paxton. I want to build on that because I'm going to be honest with you. I had no idea that we were counting, and I bet a huge percentage of our audience didn't either. I'm kind of embarrassed I didn't know because it's so significant and it explains so many of the decisions. Right now, illegal immigrants are counted for purposes of the census, which means Democrats, I saw Elon Musk tweet this, are getting a benefit potentially of around 20 congressional seats based on being able to count these individuals for purposes of representation of congressional seats, every seat roughly 700,000 people. Were you aware of this for years? Maybe you were. I was not. And again, I'm embarrassed that I wasn't. I bet a lot of people out there aren't. And how do we fix this?
Well, I mean, I think that Trump was the one that tried to stop this from happening. I think during his administration, they were pushing towards not counting this. Of course, then we got into the Biden administration when they actually were doing the census, and it's become a huge problem. And this has, I think, been the strategy all along. They wanted to place these people where they get the most advantage on counting congressional districts. And you're right, that this is all about controlling the House, because that's where they've had trouble winning. And by adding congressional districts that only they can win by counting people that can't vote. So I was aware. I think I became aware of it a few years ago, and we were trying to figure out how we might have standing to do something about it. But you're in so many different lawsuits with the Biden administration, trying to figure out which ones you think you have the best chance of winning and stopping the most crazy things. But that clearly is something I think we need to address.
Attorney General Paxton, appreciate you being with us, sir.
All right. Have a great day. Thanks for having me on again.
He's doing great work down there, Buck. And I said, you know what I'm celebrating in the world of sports? Let me give you Deadspin getting sold, everybody being laid off. But you know what else news just broke in the last 10 minutes? Kirk Cousins, quarterback of the Minnesota Vikings for years, has just signed a 4-year deal with the Atlanta Falcons. So he is a star quarterback who's had a lot of success, hasn't yet won a Super Bowl, but he's going to be moving down to Atlanta, and he will be their starting quarterback for the next 4 years. And maybe you're wondering, well, maybe I want to put some picks in on Kirk Cousins in the time to come. You can go download Prize Picks right now. Or maybe you're a Vikings fan, you're like, Kirk Cousins is never going to pan out with the Atlanta Falcons. Go download Prize Picks right now. When the season starts, you can make picks about how Kirk Cousins is going to do, about how every player out there, as NFL free agency begins, how every player out there is going to do. And we're going to have a lot of fun with this. And also, by the way, March Madness now here. And if you think it's madness that individual players, we'll see, like Dalton Knecht just named SEC Player of the Year, maybe their numbers are too high with conference basketball tournaments set to begin, or maybe they're too low. I'm going to give you some of these picks, and I want you signed up so we can have some fun with it. PrizePicks.com. PrizePicks.com is the site. You get in there right now. You put in $100. They'll give you $100 just for signing up to $100. You sign up, they'll give you 50 for 50, 25 for 25. You will get your money doubled just by signing up. I don't know how many, if any, advertisements we've ever done where you can make money just by going and downloading the app. And if you're in California and you're feeling left out, and if you're in Texas where we just talked to the Attorney General, and if you're in Georgia where Kirk Cousins now is going to be playing, boom, you can be set up. You can have some fun. PrizePicks.com. Use my name, Clay. Get up to $100 credited to your account when you sign up. That's PrizePicks.com. My name, Clay. Do it today.